Okay, this week we're continuing our circle stuff, but this week we're going to do central angles. And we are going to do arc measures and arc length. When we talk about arc measure and arc length, measure is referring to a degree measure. And arc length is referring to something like feet or centimeters or any other kind of measurement like that that we would use to measure distance. Okay, the reason we're doing central angles is because you need your central angle to find your arc measure. So it says a central angle is an angle with its vertex at the center of the circle and its two sides are radii. The sum of all central angles in a circle is 360 degrees. So, for example, on this diagram, angle A, B, C would be a central angle. Now the next part, the degree of the arc formed by the endpoints of a central angle is equal to the degree of the central angle. So for example, the measure of arc AC is 84 degrees, and that's because this angle is 84 degrees, and the arc attaching that angle is AC, so it has to be the same. Now on the other hand, the measure of arc ADC, remember it's a major arc if we list three of them, so ADC, we're going to have to subtract 84 from 360 to get that because the whole circle is 360, and we already have that 84 degree angle taken out. So 360 minus 84 degrees is going to be 276 degrees. So this angle is a 276 degree angle, and we would say that the measure of the arc is also 276 degrees. So when we say arc measure, it's the degree measure that's associated with that angle. Okay, so here's some problems that we're going to use this on. So it says the measure of arc JK, and JK is this arc. And we can see that the angle is 21 degrees, so the arc is also 21 degrees. Now it says the measure of angle JNM. So let's highlight it, JNM. And we already have 21 degrees taken out of this 180 degrees that's here. So we're going to do 180 degrees minus 21 degrees, and we will get 159 degrees. Okay, now the measure of arc KL, and we already know that this is 159 degrees, and these two are vertical angles. So KL also has to be 159 degrees. So remember, the angle is the same measure as the arc associated with it. Now we're going to do angle JKM, or arc JKM. So J, K, and then all the way around to M. We know that this is 159. And these two are vertical angles. So this is 21 degrees. So to find this, we're going to have 21 degrees plus 159 plus 21. And we should get 201 degrees. Remember, our angle measure is the same measure as our arc. Now we need the measure of arc MKL. MKL. It's super important that you go in order, because if I were to go to L first, I would have this little piece included in there, and that is not included in there. So we know this is 159, and this is 159, so we're just going to have 159 plus 159 plus 21, and we should get 339 degrees. The other way you could have done this is by saying that this is 21 degrees and just doing 360 minus 21, and you would get the same answer. So I'm going to have you guys go ahead and try problem 2, and go ahead and pause the video, and when you press play, you'll see my answers there with my work. Okay, so you might have seen when you did this one that you kind of don't want to do these in order. So I skipped this first one and I did the second one so that we can see that ST, the measure of that arc, is going to be 180, subtracting these two from it. Once you get that part, the rest of it should be pretty easy. You can see my work on there and go ahead and follow that along if you need to. Okay. Now let's look at 3. Okay, the first one it asks us for is CD, and the angle is 90 degrees, so this is going to be a 90-degree arc. Now we need FD, the measure of arc FD, and this is super important because you can see that it's listed with 2 letters. Remember, if it's listed with 2 letters, that means it's a minor arc. If it's listed with 3 letters, that means it's a major arc. If I did FD this way, that would be a major arc, because it's greater than 180 degrees. If I do FD the other way, it's shorter, and that's a minor arc. And that's the one that we want. You always want to choose the shortest distance, so we need that minor arc. So we're going to take 90 degrees and add it to 34 degrees. And we should get 124 degrees. Now we want the measure of DCF. So D, C, and then F. We know this one's 90 as well. Now we're going to have to do a little bit of work first. So we know that this is 90 here as well. So we need to do 90 minus 34 first. And we should get 56 degrees. So now we're going to have 90 plus 90 plus 56. And we should get 236 degrees. Now we need the measure of arc GDF. So GDF. So we're going to have 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 34. And that should give us 304 degrees. Okay, now I want you guys to go ahead and pause and try problem 4, and then when you press play, you'll see my answers. You're going to do a lot better on this stuff if you guys try these on your own when I ask you to try them on your own, because it's going to help you to be able to check yourself and see if you know it. So please make sure you pause now, and then when you press play, you'll see my answers. Okay, go ahead and check my answers. The biggest thing that you had to be able to identify here is that these two angles are vertical angles. So from the beginning, we know this is 19 degrees. Once you've got that, it's pretty easy to find the rest. This one is 90. This book doesn't do a great job of labeling things to where you know what they are. If it looks like a 90-degree angle, go ahead and assume it with this. If it looks like a straight line, go ahead and assume it's a straight line with this. They're pretty straightforward about what it is. If it looks like a straight line, it's a straight line on here. Okay, these ones are the same concept. You just have to do a little bit of algebra with these ones. So they're giving you your arc measure in the form of an equation. So these say just to find each value or measure that they want you to find. So this first one, we just have to find x. This is a straight line, so we know that this equation plus this 26 degrees is going to be 180 degrees. So we're going to do 15x minus 26 plus 26 equals 180 degrees. Whoops. So then these two go away, and we just have 15x equals 180 degrees. We need to divide by 15, and we get x equals 12. Okay, the next one's a little bit trickier, but really, honestly, it's not that much harder. We can see that this angle, its vertical angles would be these two angles together. So we're going to add these two, and it's going to equal this one. So we're going to have 18x minus 2 plus 15, and it equals 103. So you have to look at these and see what you can figure out just from the picture from the beginning to be able to work these out. So now if we combine like terms, we have 18x plus 13 equals 103. We need to subtract 13 from both sides. So 18x equals 90. Divide by 18. And we get x equals 5. Okay, on this next one, I want you to try it first and then unpause to look at my answer. The next one is very similar to what we have done. You're given vertical angles, so you should set them equal to each other, and then you're going to have to use the stuff that we did on the last slide. So go ahead and pause. Okay, with this one I started out with just setting these two equations equal to each other and solving for x. And then it asks you for the measure of AD. So I just took that equation and I plugged this 17 in for x. Then it asked for CD, and we already knew this was 148 because we just found it, so you just subtract that from 180 because this is a line. And then it asked for BDC, so BD is a line, right? So we already know this is 180. And then we have to go over to C, and we found that this was 32 degrees, so we just add 180 plus 32. Okay, I'm going to help you guys completely with these last two, just so that you can see a little bit more before you do your practice problems. So on this one, we want to find x first, and we know this is a straight line. So if we add these two equations, it should be 180 degrees. So we're going to have 5x plus 23 plus 17x minus 41, and it's going to be 180 degrees. Okay, if I combine like terms, I have 22x minus 18 equals 180. I need to add 18 to both sides. So 22x equals 198. And we need to divide by 22. So x equals 9. Now we want to find the measure of arc JK. Well, we're given an equation and we know what x is now, so we're just going to do 5 times 9 because that's our x plus 23, and we should get 68 degrees. Make sure you write your degree measure on there, don't just say 68. Now we want to find the measure of arc MJ. We know this is 68 degrees, and this is a line, so we just need to do 180 degrees minus 68 degrees, and we should get 112 degrees. Now we need the measure of arc LMK. So LMK, JK and ML are vertical angles, and we know JK is 68 degrees. So that means this is 68 degrees. And we know that MJ is 112 degrees, so we just need to add all of those together. And we should get 248 degrees. Okay, this last one is a little bit tricky. They want us to solve for x, but we are only given this large piece right here to solve with. You can use the whole circle if you say this is 90 degrees, but 3/4 of a circle is 270 degrees. So we're going to say if we add all three of these together, it should equal 270 degrees. So 8x plus 21x minus 12 plus 10x plus 9 should equal 270 degrees. So let's combine like terms, and we should get 39x minus 3 equals 270 degrees. Add 3 to both sides. And divide by 39. So x should equal 7. Now they want wx. So wx, we have an equation for that one, so we'll have 21x, and x is 7 minus 12, and we should get 135 degrees. Now we want yw. And we're going to have to do a little bit of work. This is 90 degrees here. So we're going to have 90 plus 8x, and we know that x is 7. So this should give us 146 degrees. Now we want yx. So we are going to have 10x, which is 7, plus 9. So we should get 79 degrees. Now we want VXW. So VXW is going to be everything except for this angle. Well, 8 times 7 is 56. So we just need to do 360 degrees minus 56 degrees, and we should get 304 degrees. Okay, these ones look like they're going to be a little bit harder, but they're actually not harder. They're honestly just a plug and chug situation. You don't really have to think your way through them near as much as the other ones. So this is arc length, but before we start arc length, I want to remind you guys that length is going to be like feet or centimeters or something like that. Arc measure, which is what we just did, is going to be degrees. You will have to use your arc measures to find your arc length on these. So I'm going to give you the formula for arc length. It is length equals x times c over 360. So x is the degree measure of the arc, so that's going to be this. C is your circumference, and you're going to have to find your circumference on these, so you're going to have to use what you learned last week. Remember that circumference is 2 pi r, or you can say circumference is pi times diameter. You can use either of those. So let's try the first one. It says that EB, so the length of this radius, is 15 centimeters, and it wants us to find the length of CD. Now you might be looking at it and saying, oh, well, this is a straight line. We can just subtract 68 degrees from it. That's true. We have to do that to find the measure, but it's asking us for the length. If it says length, it's going to want us to give centimeters back, not degrees. So first we are going to subtract that from 180. So we're going to do 180 minus 68. Oops, not 60. And we're going to get that 112 degrees. So the measure of this arc, the measure of arc CD is 112 degrees. We need that because up here it says the degree measure of the arc. So we are going to have our degree measure of our arc, which is 112. Now we need our circumference, and circumference is 2 pi r. We get that from up here. So 2 times our radius is going to be 30, and then we are going to have pi. And this is multiplied in our equation, and then divided by 360. So I just plugged that stuff in my equation. Now, all you guys have to do is literally put this in your calculator, and we're going to say this is approximately 29.32 centimeters. That's the answer. So you're really finding a couple different things here. We found the measure. We found the circumference. And then we found the length. So let's go ahead and try the next one. It says that NR, so this radius is 8 feet, and it wants us to find NMP. So N, M, and then all the way around to P. We can see that this is a straight line, and we need x, which is our measure of this arc. So we're going to use that. We're going to use 180 minus 162 to find just this angle here. And we know that that angle is the vertical angle with this one. So once we found one, we really have both of them. So 180 minus 162 is 18. So now to find the whole thing, I'm going to do some erasing. So we want NMP. This is 18. If that's 18, this is also 18. So we're going to have 18 plus 162 plus 18. And we get 198. This is our arc measure. So in our equation, this is x. So we already have x up here. So we have 198. Now we need to find c. We know that c is our circumference, and that is 2 pi r. So we have 2 pi, and our radius is 8 feet. So we're going to have 16 pi. So we're going to have 198 times 16 pi, and this is all over 360. This is our length equation all filled in. So we found x, we found our degrees, we found our circumference, and then we're finding our length. Okay, so now you just need to type that in your calculator, and you should get approximately 27.65 feet. Make sure you have your units when you do these, because they're really not right unless you have your units. Okay, so just to recap, we're using the equation length equals x times c over 360. So first we have to find what x equals, then we need to find what c equals, and then we're going to plug it into our equation. So this one says that VS, which is this length here, is 12. And it says find the length of UT. So that tells us that we're going to have to find that measure of UT first. So that's our x. So we're trying to find x right here. I'm going to erase this and move it just a little bit. This is 12. So we can see this is a straight line. So to find this little piece, we're going to have to do 180 minus 127. And we should get 53 degrees. And the reason I want that, I'm going to erase here a little bit. The reason we want that is because this is a 90-degree angle right here. So if we know this is 53 degrees, we just need to do 90 minus 53 degrees to get this piece here. And when we do that, we should get 37 degrees. So x is 37 degrees. Okay, now we need to find the circumference, and they gave us our diameter this time instead of our radius. So our diameter is 12, so we need to use this other equation that's pi times diameter. So 12 pi is our circumference. So now we just need to plug all of this into this equation over here. So x is 37 times c, which is 12 pi, over 360 degrees. And it's not even degrees, just put 360. And then type that in your calculator, and you should get approximately 3.87 meters. Remember your units. Okay, I want you guys to go ahead and pause right here and try problem 13 on your own, and when you press play, you'll see my work and my answer. So go ahead and pause. Okay, go ahead and check your answers for 13. I also gave you 14 and 15. I would like you to try those on your own, and then go ahead and check your answers with my stuff. If you have questions, go ahead and email me questions. Your homework is posted, and your homework answers have all of my work on them as well, so you can check your answers. They're all attached at the end. I would make sure that you do that. You're doing a problem, checking your answer, and then asking a question if you have a question before you do the quiz. It'll help you a lot on the quiz. So good luck. Email me if you have questions.